Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, JC Courtside, coming at y'all today on Friday, January 23rd. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been hyping up this episode for quite some time, and it's time to get into it, finally. In case you guys don't know, we are at the halfway mark of the NBA. Every single team has played 41 games at least. So, it's our first ever season covering the NBA, covering it in front of all of you guys. So I think there's no better time than to do a mid-season review of every single team in the NBA. You know, in hindsight, we probably should have done one of the conferences yesterday and then the other conference today so that we could evenly spread out this episode instead of just one long, massive podcast. But here we are. Here you are. And there's no better day than today. Plus, I might have to leave you guys on a big episode because, in case y'all don't know, there's a ginormous ice and snowstorm coming in, hitting the south. I'm in North Carolina, so it's going to smack the hell out of us. And I don't know if I'll have power come Monday. Hopefully I do. But for the time being, ladies and gents, this is the hand that we were dealt. And we just might have to send y'all off with a longer episode. All right? Podcast listeners, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. Apple listeners, Spotify listeners, I'm talking to you. All of these episodes that we do get posted onto YouTube, Spotify, and Apple about 10 minutes after I end the stream. So I encourage you guys to go check those out. TikTok stream, be sure to just keep double tapping that like button. Be sure to drop a follow. We do this Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. YouTube, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. And Twitch chat, all you guys got to do, your role is very, very easy over here, guys. Sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the show. Guys, in today's episode, we're going to be going over the midseason review of all 30 teams. We're going to be going alphabetically, which means we are going to be starting with none other than the Atlanta Hawks. So, let's talk about the Hawks season. We're going to be going over, just so everybody understands the structure of this, we're going to be looking at where they were projected to be going into the season. And then we're going to look at where they actually are, okay? So right now, the Atlanta Hawks, at the beginning of the season, they were projected to be the 4th seed in the East. The 4th. That's a playoff spot. They were projected to win 47.5 games. Now, I'm pretty confident we all know the Atlanta Hawks are not on pace to win 47.5 games. In fact, the Atlanta Hawks are not the 4th seed. They are the 10th seed, the 10th and final spot in the play-in, which means to make it out of the play-in, they got to win 2 games, 2 single elim games to make it into the playoffs. The Atlanta Hawks right now are 21-55. 21-25. My apologies. They're 21-25. They're 4 games below 500. They're 10-17 against the Eastern Conference, 4-3 in their division. I'm not going to mention that again. 7-13 at home, but 14-12 on the road. They've lost 6 out of their last 10 games, and they're on a 1-game win streak. Of course, everyone here knows that the Atlanta Hawks traded their star in Trae Young for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. That's about all he could bring home. They had nothing else. They couldn't grab anything. The Atlanta Hawks also just came off of a 4-game losing streak against the Lakers, Portland, Boston, and Milwaukee, but they won against the Memphis Grizzlies barely. Barely. So when we talk about the Atlanta Hawks, what's the first thing that you guys think of? Live crew, I know for me, it's playing. How the hell do you manage to do this every single year? Right? How do you manage to do this? Now, the Atlanta Hawks are a game and a half above the Bucks. And I got to be honest with everybody. The reason why they're a game and a half above the Bucks is because the Bucks have been that bad as well. The only reason this team is even in the play-in is because the Bucks have been horrendous. The Bucks could win 2 games and the Hawks could lose 2 games, and all of a sudden, the Bucks take their spot in the 10th seed of the play-in. Now, genuinely speaking, I see a lot of discourse around Jalen Johnson, right? When this team was projected to just leap by the signings of Tingus Pingus, Luke Kennard, who's the other guy? Nikhil Alexander-Walker. When I saw them get that massive leap to go from a play-in team to a 4th seed, I said, hell no. I said, there's no way this team jumps my Pistons by getting Tingus Pingus in 2026. And then Nikhil Alexander-Walker, he's impressed us all. He's a candidate for most improved player. Now, Jalen Johnson's leading the categories for points, rebounds, and assists. For this team, he's averaging 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. But can I be honest with everybody? Jalen Johnson is playing one side of the floor. A lot of people are over here hyping up Jalen Johnson beyond belief. When in all actuality, if you guys watch Hawks games, chances are their game is over and he's just stat padding to get those triple doubles. I've watched a lot of Hawks games and they're out of the game by the 3rd quarter in most of these games, but yet they stat pad his triple doubles. And then it looks better than it actually is. Now, Jalen Johnson, in my opinion, deserves to be an all-star. He deserves to be an all-star. Will he get it is another question. Last year, Jalen Johnson was proving to himself that he was going to be an all-star until the injury hit. So when you look at this team, right, they're first in assists, believe it or not. So they swing that ball around a lot. I also see there's a guy named Jalen Johnson Enjoyer in my TikTok stream. Don't worry, bro. Yeah, I'm a big fan of JJ as well. They're 5th in steals, and that's part of the reason for the Dyson Daniels, the Dyson vacuum, the great barrier thief. Is that what the nickname is? They're 5th in field goals made, 3rd in field goals attempted, 8th in 3-pointers made. Yet the reason why the Atlanta Hawks suck is because their defense. Their defense is that bad. They don't get rebounds because they don't have Tingus Pingus. It's Onyeka and Conway, who's been brilliant this year. But this team is horrendous at shooting free throws, and they don't play any defense whatsoever. This was a team that was supposed to be a prolific defensive squad. You have Dyson Daniels. You have NAW. I thought Jalen Johnson played better defense. Tingus Pingus would have helped their interior as well. When you look this team up and down, you really assume that they were going to be good. But when all the weight falls on a Jalen Johnson and Onyeka Okongwu, I just don't fully agree that they can do it. There's another team that we're going to be talking about today that was supposed to have, obviously we're talking about all 30 teams today. We're talking about all 30 teams today, ladies and gents. There's another team, though, that was supposed to have this bona fide defense, and now they've completely slipped. And their offense sucks, but now their defense also sucks, and that's why that other team is also underachieving. So when I look at this team, and I see them so locked in offensively, with and without Trae Young, to see their defense be as poor as it is, it's really unfortunate. Now, players don't quite make a big defensive leap, right? So what you see is what you're going to get with Jalen Johnson, with Dyson Daniels, with NAW, right? However they defend is at the end of the day, defense for all my hoopers out there is all about effort. Effort, IQ, when to switch, when not to switch, when to help, when to collapse, when to come up, right? It's mostly IQ and effort. And the Hawks don't have effort. And most of the time when I watch them, it just comes down to being oversized and being slow to the jump. For example, when I see this team up against Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren, it's quite literally, I highly recommend people to go watch those games because that exposes this team's faults. They just don't have the bigs. I want to give credit where credit is due to Dyson Daniels and NAW. They lock that perimeter down to the best of their capabilities. But when you don't have reliable help behind you, what can happen? Now, I want to talk about, do I think they're going to reach their 47.5 win total? No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I think Jalen Johnson could be a 1. I think he could be a 2 as well. It just depends what kind of guard you put around him. But I think Jalen Johnson could be a number 1 option. They're not going to get 47.5 wins. Plain and simple. That's unfortunate that everyone hyped them up so heavily. I still believe in this team. I don't know whether or not they're going to make another move. They got that Pelicans pick, so shout out them. It's a good thing they called Joe Dumars when he was feeling frisky one day because that dude's an idiot. The Hawks have a very bright future. I'm not worried about this team. Honestly, I'm so happy they moved on from Trae Young. As far as this season goes, it's a wash. It's a wash. Can they get back into the plan? Sure. Can they get back into the playoffs? I don't see why not. They are only, ladies and gents. Oh, this does not have games behind. That's stupid. Well, they're only a couple games out of the playoff spot. The Cavs, yeah, they're only, I'd say, 5 games? Let me pull up so that I can actually give that an accurate estimation. The Hawks are only 5 games out. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, they're going to be a play-in team. Unless the Milwaukee Bucks suddenly get help for Giannis, which it's not going to happen. Yeah, the Hawks are underachieving. And honestly, I put blame on the casinos and the gambling companies for hyping them up so heavily. I told everybody at the beginning of the year, I had them on the under. I said there's no way the Hawks jump up over the Pistons. I didn't believe that was going to happen. So when I saw that they were 47.5, I said, I'm taking that under easily. Yeah, the Atlanta Hawks, man. Very disappointing year, but very exciting future. So for any Hawks fans, I wouldn't be too upset about this year. You guys got rid of Trae Young. You're starting fresh. I think the future is looking extremely bright in Atlanta. Y'all got picks. Y'all got extra picks that you guys got in trades. And now, you got the Pelicans pick. I mean, come on now. Y'all got that pick. The Atlanta Hawks future is very bright. I'm very excited to see what they can do. I think having a core of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, seeing that leap out of him, and then seeing Jalen Johnson take that leap as well. Very exciting future for the Atlanta Hawks. But yeah, they're not going to get that line that they were projected at. Guys, that was long. If that has any indication of what's going to happen, we're going to be talking about all 30 teams today, y'all. So stick around. I hope everybody enjoys the show. And TikTok, I'm going to be saying it throughout today's stream. If you guys want to talk with me, be sure to swing on into the Twitch stream. All right, JZ Uncut on Twitch. The link is in my bio, everybody. Let's move on alphabetically to a team that has surprised all of us. The Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics were expected to be the 7th seed in the East this year, meaning the best play-in spot possible. They were expected to be the 7th seed. They were projected to win 42.5 games without Tatum. 42.5. And I think we all know that is not what happened. The Boston Celtics right now are sitting comfortably, not comfortably, but in the 2nd seed. They are a game and a half above the Knicks for the 3rd seed. They are 20-10 against the Eastern Conference, 13-7 at home, 14-9 on the road. They've won 6 out of their last 10. The Boston Celtics, man, what can I say about this team that I haven't said already this season? What can I say that I haven't said already? Jaylen Brown, top 10 player in the NBA. He's averaging almost 30 points a game. Jaylen Brown is absolutely carrying this team right now. And without him, I don't know where this team would be. Their recent losses are against the Pistons, the Pacers, the Spurs, and the Nuggets. So when you look at those losses, it's rare when you're going to just win out all the teams that you should beat. So losing to the Pacers by 2, I mean, it happens. But these are good teams that they've lost to. The Nuggets without Jokic, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Detroit Pistons. People are telling me, like, here's my issue when I hear about Jaylen Brown. The reason I called him undisputed top 10 is because I hate when players call themselves like good. Like, how do I say this? When Michael Jordan played the game of basketball, he never came out and said, I'm the greatest basketball player. I'm the GOAT. I'm the GOAT. He never did that. LeBron comes out and says, I'm the GOAT, right? I don't like that. Jaylen Brown every day in an interview says that he's top 5 in the league. And it's like, okay, yes, I hear you. I hear you, JB. You don't need to, like, who are you convincing now? Us or yourself? And of course, I love LeBron, so him calling the GOAT, I'm not upset about that, but it sort of ruins his legacy for me, LeBron has called himself the greatest of all time on many podcasts. LeBron has said it a lot, and it's very cringe. Now, I'd like to keep talking about the Boston Celtics. They're obviously going to crush their projected win total of 42.5. Their record currently is 27-16. This is all without Tatum. This is all without an actual competent center. No offense to Neemias Queta. He's a very good rotational big, but they need a center. And this is all without their star and superstar Jason Tatum. When you look at this team and you see the categories and they're all green, it's quite beautiful. They're 10th in rebounding, even without a competent center. Their biggest flaw right now is ISO ball. There's way too much ISO ball with this basketball team, man. Way too much. They rank 29th in assists, 20th in steals. But all their offensive numbers are great other than that. Their defense is way above what we thought it was going to be. Derek White is arguably the best guard defender in the NBA. And this is all with Peyton Pritchard having a pretty bad year. Peyton Pritchard is not a starting caliber point guard. I got to be honest, he's not. This year, yes, his numbers have gone up. His volume has got up, but all of his efficiency ratings have dropped like significantly. He's shooting 44% from the field and 33% from three. That's not good. Peyton Pritchard has been a career 39% shooter from deep. But the Boston Celtics right now have blown everybody's expectations out of the water. I said that I would be taking the over on this team because I assumed that Jaylen Brown was going to have an explosive year. I didn't think he'd be doing this. But I said two players are going to see a significant jump this year with their star players missing. I said it would be Jaylen Brown and Andrew Nembhard. I was right on one of them. I said Jaylen Brown is going to explode this year. I said you're going to see him take a role that he's never had, and it's going to be very fun. It's a lot of fun watching this man play, bro. Like, I highly recommend y'all to watch more Boston Celtics games. The only thing I don't like about Jaylen Brown is that ever since he became this number one option, I don't want to call him a foul baiter, but the constant screaming of, hey, every time someone touches him is quite aggravating. I'm saying this, watching my team against the Boston Celtics and just hearing this guy scream, hey, every time he gets touched, it's quite aggravating. That doesn't deny his ability. His skill is still unbelievable. Still a great player, one of the best players in the NBA. It's infuriating to see. And the refs rewarding that. He's doing what he should do. He's doing what he should do. So can I fault him? No. Do I have to like it? No. And as far as Joe Mazzulla goes, the head coach of the Boston Celtics, he's going to be up there in the coach of the year candidates. My pick is JB Bickerstaff. But he's going to be up there in the coach of the year candidates. It's going to be fun, man. And this team should get Tatum back too. This team should get Tatum back. And, you know, Tatum's not going to be Tatum. But would you rather have Hugo Gonzalez sitting in the corner or Jason Tatum? I think the answer is pretty clear here. Everybody's going to opt for Jason Tatum. So the team's only going to improve with Tatum. It's not going to make anything worse. Tatum's not going to just come in and say, hey, JB, it's my team again, baby. That's not going to happen. This is JB's team right now. And it's going to be JB's team for the remaining of this year. Come next year, sure, we could do that. My whole thing is, though, I hope Tatum doesn't rush himself back. I know modern medicine is crazy, but at the end of the day, if he can come and just be a plug to sit in the corner, be a spot-up shooter, I think that's great. I'm sure his shot probably increased as well because that's all he's been practicing on, right? Boston Celtics, man, they're going to crush their season projection. 42.5. They're already at 27 wins. So shout out Boston. Shout out them Beantown boys. I love to see it, man. I'm rooting for them. They're a very fun team to watch. I just hate watching the 3-point spamming, which they fall into a lot. There's a couple teams in the NBA right now that are just spamming threes. It's quite aggravating, but if it works, don't fix it, right? All right, guys, we're going to move with some pace with the next few teams. Yeah, the next 3 teams are going to move with some pace, okay? Our next one is the Brooklyn Nets. Now, the Brooklyn Nets, projected before this season were supposed to be the worst team in the Eastern Conference. They were supposed to win 20 and a half games. Now, unfortunately for them, they've won 12 already, which means they are on pace for 24. Okay? That would put them not at the worst seed. That would put them over the projected stats. Now, part of the reason being is because of Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. has won these guys multiple games throughout this year. Now, they're on a 3-game skid right now, and they managed to score 66 points against the New York Knicks in a game, which is unbelievable. But this is their main reason. This is their main reason why they're winning too many games. Michael Porter Jr. this season is averaging 25 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1 steal, 48% from the field, and 40% from three. 40% from three. Michael Porter Jr. has been that good. And by the way, his shot, like, there's a stat for my advanced metric sickos. There's a stat that shows you the shots that you attempt while they are contested. Michael Porter Jr. leads the NBA in most shots taken while contested. You know what he also leads? The highest percentage of shots made while contested. Just so you know, other people that are on that list are like Duncan Robinson for the Pistons. So these are players that they know are going to shoot, and yet they can't stop them from shooting, let alone making them. So, and there's a very smart person in the TikTok stream who said, because he's taken the most, bro. TikTok chat, this is why I tell you guys to get away from all the morons over there. And if you want to talk real hoops, to come over to the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. I literally just said he leads the league in most attempted contested shots, but he's also leading the league in highest percentage. With that logic, he should have the lowest percentage if he's taken the most. The fact that he's attempted the most, but also made the most, shows that he's shooting at a prolific clip right now. So Michael Porter Jr. is playing really well, and he can be a plug and pop on any team in the NBA. Any team that needs a three, any team that needs a shooter, any team that needs some average defense on the wing, they should grab him. The Nets need to move Michael Porter Jr. I think they could also, Nick Claxton has also been in the talks to be moved. He's been a pretty good player as well this year. Honestly, he's playing really, really well. But overall, Brooklyn Nets are doing what they're supposed to do. They got to get rid of MPJ. They got to get rid of MPJ. They have to, because they're winning too many games right now. They need a good pick. So yeah, Brooklyn, get rid of Michael Porter Jr. and we can move on. I'm going to read this comment just because he said it twice, so I'm assuming he wants me to read it out loud. He said, who would have thought Jokic could hold a player back so much? I have nothing to say on that topic. It just is. Yeah, I'm sure Nikola Jokic was holding Michael Porter Jr. back. At the same time, Michael Porter Jr.'s volume and percentages have increased this year. So that's where it tells you that Michael Porter Jr. is not going to be a 1 on any basketball team. Michael Porter Jr. is going to be a 3 at best on a championship contending team. Okay? He's going to be a number 3 option at best. At best, he's a number 3 option. If he were to go to like the Pistons, he would be the number 3 offensively. So, I guess a number 2 offensively. Well, no, number 3, because it's the Cade and Duran 1-2 punch. Okay, guys, we are moving in order. I see people in the TikTok telling me, Warriors. They are not anytime soon. We are going in order, alphabetically, city-wise. So, TikTok, if you guys are enjoying the stream, be sure to swing on into the Twitch stream. Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. The link is in my bio. If you want to talk real hoops, come to the Twitch stream. Okay. Let's move on with the Charlotte Hornets again. Let's move with some pace, y'all. Let's move with some pace. The Charlotte Hornets were projected to win 26.5 games today. Or at the beginning of the season, they were projected to win 26.5 games. That would put them as the 3rd worst team in the East. Now, the Charlotte Hornets are the 4th worst team in the East with 17 wins. 17. They are on pace to beat their 26.5 projected win total. Charlotte Hornets have been incredibly interesting this year. One night they look great. One night they look horrible. And that's the definition of the Charlotte Hornets this year. Brandon Miller, when he plays, is great. LaMelo Ball, when he plays, is either great or ass. But I'd say their most consistent piece, and it's kind of crazy to say this, their rookie, Con Knips. This is unheard of, guys. This is unheard of. He's averaging 19 points as a rookie, 5.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, almost a steal. He's shooting 48% from the field. But that's not even the best part. He's averaging 42% from deep. Again, 42% from deep. Now, some casuals are probably thinking, I mean, what's he attempting? He's a rookie. He's probably attempting like 2 threes a game, right? He's averaging 8 three-point attempts a night. He's the first ever rookie to be attempting that many threes a night. First ever. Con freaking Knips. Guys, he is a rookie, and he might put up a 50, 40, 90. It's a great point from the TikTok, actually. I'd love to see you come into the Twitch stream. You're wasting your talent over there. He said he set a record as the fastest player in NBA history to reach 100 three-pointers. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, he might average a 50, 40, 90 as a rookie. As a rookie. Are you kidding me? So, I'm going to be very polite when I say this, Charlotte Hornets fans, okay? Because as you guys know, I want to talk from a mind that just loves basketball. I just love hoops, right? I just love it. It's time. It's time to move on from LaMelo Ball. If you want to keep trying with Brandon Miller, that's fine. But I think it's time to move on from LaMelo. His value is pretty decent right now. He's averaging 19 points, 7.5 assists. But what's bad about LaMelo is his just inefficient games. I mean, he's shooting 40% from the field as a 6'7" point guard on 36% from deep. I think you can get something for LaMelo. And I know a lot of the kids love LaMelo Ball. The kids love LaMelo Ball, and it's because he doesn't care. He doesn't give a fuck. Excuse my French. He does not care. And the kids love that nonchalant play style. But I'm here to tell you, that's not going to win championships. That's not going to win you a playoff series. Hell, that's not even getting you a play-in spot. I think at this point, you have Con Knips. Let's just start over, baby. Let's start over. And if you don't want to start over, I know I said it earlier this year where I believe the Charlotte Hornets can take that leap next year. I don't know. I think it all stems from me believing that they'll be healthy. Because LaMelo Ball has not proven that he's a winning player. He's cool. He has great games. There's nobody more fun to watch when they're hot. There's nobody more fun to watch when they're hot. When they're feeling themselves, I swear the Charlotte Hornets are so much fun. For example, last night they stomped the Orlando Magic on the second night of a back-to-back. Stomped them, right? Brandon Miller had 20. It was a plus 20 on the court. LaMelo, 6 and 7. 16, 6 and 7. But he shot 6 for 12. Honestly, that's a good game for LaMelo, considering a lot of the bad games he's had. My big thing with the Charlotte Hornets is you guys got to make a decision. Is Brandon Miller it? Is LaMelo Ball it? I think they're going to beat their projection of 26.5. It's all dependent on their future. I don't know what their future looks like. I just don't know. I don't know what their future holds. We don't even know what they'll look like 2 weeks from now after the trade deadline. So with what I'm saying here is I'm rooting for the Charlotte Hornets. I obviously live in North Carolina now. So I'm hoping that they can play well. I'm hoping they could piece this team together. I'm hoping they could figure it out. The future's bright with Con Knips. I love me some Con Knips. I'm just worried about investing too much time into LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, and Con Knips, when they're on the court together, they're a 500 team. Now, I bet you didn't know that. When they're on the court together, they're 500. The issue is that they're not on the court together that often. So, does this team make a trade? Does this team stand? Does this team wait until the offseason? A lot of teams need point guards. Now, whether or not they want a point guard like LaMelo, that's another question. That's another question. Let's move on from the Charlotte Hornets to our next team that we're probably going to move with even faster pace because I have nothing to say about them. The Chicago Bulls were projected to win 32.5 games. Missed the play-in. Actually, is that the play-in? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, missed the play-in. The Chicago Bulls were expected to miss the play-in and win 32.5 games. Well, they're dumb because they're on pace. The Chicago Bulls are on pace. They have 22 wins. They are 500. They are the 9th seed. They're in the play-in, baby. Woo, 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 woo. They're in the play-in. The Chicago Bulls. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about the Chicago Bulls. They are on a 3-game win streak. They beat Minnesota last night. Minnesota sucks right now. We'll talk about them later. The Los Angeles Clippers, they beat, I think, without Kawhi Leonard. And then they beat the Brooklyn Nets as well. They are 3rd in assists, 9th in rebounding. Unfortunately for the Chicago Bulls, their defense is horrible. Their defense is very bad. You're not going anywhere with a defense like this. Honestly, they don't even try on defense. Like, you have to try to be this bad on defense. They're bottom 5 in every advanced metric defensively. So there's not much I can say on that matter. Now, Josh Giddey's looking like a steal. His contract's looking good. I think if they ever wanted to move off Josh Giddey, it wouldn't be that difficult. But in my opinion, they waited too long for Vucci, baby. He should have been traded 2 years ago. They would have gotten draft picks for Nikola Vucevic if they traded him. And as far as Kobe White goes, he's in every single trade rumor. Like, I swear, he's in every... Now, it makes sense. Kobe White can fit on any basketball team in the NBA. Any team in the NBA could use Kobe White. I mean it. You go look at the trade rumors with Kobe White. Every single team is in contention to trade for Kobe White. Not just that. They also have Ayo. Ayo Dosunmu is like... They developed this guy beautifully. Beautifully. And I love him as a player. He's a dog. He's like the one dog on the team. He's the only dog on this team. So whether or not he's still on this team in 2 weeks, I'll be curious to see. This team doesn't have a leader. This team doesn't have a defensive scheme. Thank you, Twitch chat. We trot out our sets, and if you beat us, you beat us. And that's really how it goes. They also have arguably one of the worst contracts in the NBA in Patrick Williams. Man, this guy doesn't look like a basketball player. He does not look like a basketball player at all. At all. My condolences, Bulls fans. There's a reason I always say that you guys are allowed to bully a couple teams in the NBA. The Bulls, the Kings, the Clips. That's why. We all know why, right? In case you guys don't know why I say it's okay to bully the Bulls, the reason it's okay is because the owners don't care. So why should the fans? Why should the fans be invested into a team that their owners don't care about putting a good performance out on the floor for the fans? They only care about the dollar sign. They only care about the money coming in. They only care about selling out that arena. They don't care. They don't care. And that's like a very telling point in an owner. Obviously, we're going to be talking about every single team today. We're going to be talking about all 30 NBA teams today. But I want to give quick shout outs to Suns owner Matt Ishbia. I want to give a quick shout out to Tom Gores of the Pistons. Those kinds of franchises that care about the product that they're putting on the floor and they want fans to enjoy the game. They want fans to like go take their kids out, spend the night at one of these arenas and have a good time. Those are the owners that you want to appreciate. Not the crypto owners. Not Jerry Reinsdorf for the Bulls. That just care about that dollar sign. They just look at this thing as an investment, man. They're just trying to build generational wealth at this point and just pocket all your money. They don't care about what product they're putting out on the floor. Now, let's move on from the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, I mean, they're killing their expectations. They're in the play-in right now. So if that was your goal, congratulations, Jerry. You got what you wanted. I see people arguing in the TikTok. If you guys are enjoying the stream, be sure to swing on into the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. I'm very surprised that none of you guys have come through yet. We're seriously waiting for you guys in the Twitch. Jay-Z Uncut. The link is in my bio, guys. Come through. Talk real hoops. Next team is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, this is where we start getting interesting, guys. This is when we start getting very, very interesting. The next few teams they're fun to talk about, positively and negatively. The Cleveland Cavaliers were expected to win 56.5 games. People are asking, have I reviewed the Suns yet? No, because that starts with a P, and P is near the end of the alphabet. The Cleveland Cavaliers, 56.5. 56.5 wins. Now, my opinion has somewhat changed on this team over the last couple weeks. And let me explain. Right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers sit in the 6th seed at 25-20. So they're obviously not on pace to win 56.5 games. But something that you guys probably haven't realized, right, is the Cavaliers are only 1.5 games behind the Knicks for the 3rd seed. I got to repeat myself because I don't think you guys heard me. The Cavaliers, who are sitting in the 6th seed, are only 1.5 games behind the New York Knicks in the 3rd seed. Now, something that the Cavs have been doing pretty much for the last month and a half is they win, lose a really bad game. Win, lose a really bad game. Win, lose a really bad game. And that's sort of how their season has been going now. Look, they beat the Hornets. They got stomped by the Thunder. Beat Philly, lost to the Jazz. Beat Minnesota, lost to Minnesota. Beat the Pacers, lost to the Pistons. Beat the Nuggets, beat the Suns, beat the Spurs, lost to the Rockets, lost to the Knicks. Beat the Pelicans, beat the Hornets, lost to the Bulls, lost to the Bulls, lost to the Hornets. And that's sort of how their season has gone. So the Cleveland Cavaliers are a team that I wouldn't want to verse in the first round. They have good defense, in the paint, that is. And their offense is sound so long as they have Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell on the court at the same time. When they only have Donovan Mitchell, and they have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, it doesn't matter who else you have. Donovan Mitchell is going to be the focal point of the offense. He's averaging 29 points per game. Evan Mobley's put in his smooth 18-8 average. But the issue with this team is that Darius Garland, right? Darius Garland is arguably the most important point of this team. And I know what people are thinking. He's hurt. He's always getting hurt. It's his toe. It's his foot. It's whatever, right? The issue with Darius Garland is when they're missing him, Evan Mobley sucks. He sucks. He really sucks. Donovan Mitchell doesn't get anybody else involved, and that's the unfortunate part about this Cleveland Cavaliers team, right? So when you look at this team and you try to figure out what the problem is, it's not Donovan Mitchell. It's not Darius Garland. It's not Evan Mobley. It's not Kenny Atkinson. They can blame him all they want. At the end of the day, it's their scheme. It's what they're playing. Donovan Mitchell is not going to pass the ball to Evan Mobley. Donovan Mitchell is not going to pass the ball to Jared Allen. This team, when they win a lot of games, it's because Darius Garland is getting the offense involved. It's because Darius Garland is out there trying to do things for the rest of the team. When Jared Allen gets 15 points in a game, this team is winning 95% of those games. But when Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are not touching the ball, this team is at their worst. Straight up. So the Cleveland Cavaliers, as wishy-washy as they've been all year, they're only a game and a half out of the 3rd seed. That's it. So as far as Cavs fans go, man, it was looking way worse than this at the start of the year. They're probably not going to get 56.5 wins like they're projected. They're also projected to be the 1st seed in the East, ladies and gents, and they're 6th. And from the 1st seed, they are 8.5 games back from the Pistons. I don't think they're going to catch them. All right. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the Dallas Mavericks. And yes, everybody's wondering what order we're going. We are going in order alphabetically of the city names. Dot Up Red, thank you so much for the follow on Twitch. Shout out to you for leaving the TikTok and coming through to the Twitch stream. I appreciate you very much, my boy. Thank you. Shout out to all the legends that are leaving the TikTok and coming through to the Twitch stream. I appreciate it very, very much. Okay, so the Dallas Mavericks. They were projected to win 39.5 games. 39.5. If people are just now tuning in, this episode is going to be posted on YouTube. It's going to be posted on Spotify and Apple. So if you missed something, just wait. I'm not going to double back because a couple people missed a team. The Dallas Mavericks, 39.5 wins. That's what they were projected at. Now, the Dallas Mavericks have had a very perplexing year. They are 19-26. They are out of the play-in, and I don't believe they're going to make the play-in. The Dallas Mavericks have not looked good. Overall, they just have not looked great. Of their last 10, they've won 7 out of their last 10, which is great. They're actually on a 4-game winning streak, but that's not their problem. The Dallas Mavericks' main issue is health, and that's all it comes down to, because if they had Kyrie Irving, if they had Anthony Davis, this is a playoff team. This is a playoff team. If they have Kyrie, if they have AD, if they have Coop, if they have Clay, if they're not missing Lively, Gafford, all of these guys for extended periods of time, they are a playoff team. Are they a championship contending team? I don't think so, but they are a playoff team. Now, their last 4 wins were against the Jazz, the Knicks, and the Golden State Warriors, without Jimmy Butler. So, talking about this team, man, this team. They're one of my teams that I want to just absolutely blow it up. I want them to come here and absolutely blow the hell out of this team. I want Kyrie Irving gone. I want Anthony Davis gone. I want Dante Exum, Daniel Gafford, Najee Marshall, D'Angelo Russell, and Klay Thompson all gone. You can keep Coop. You can keep Christie. You can keep Derek Lively. You can keep Ryan Nembhard. And you can keep PJ Washington because you need a vet on this team. Everybody else, blow it up. Send Klay to the Pistons. Send Anthony Davis to Toronto. Send any of these players outside this city. It's time to rebuild around Cooper Flagg. I said this a lot, and I still stand true to it. The Dallas Mavericks, the Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving do not align well whatsoever with Cooper Flagg. They're too old. They're injured. There's no reason to pursue this lineup any longer. You have Cooper Flagg, build around Cooper Flagg. The timelines do not mesh well. You expect Cooper Flagg to truly be one of the best players in the NBA by 4 years from now, right? Well, 4 years from now, Anthony Davis is going to have 50 more injuries. And he's also going to be, how old will he be in 4 years? 37. And Kyrie Irving will also be 38. So it's time to blow it up. It's time to move on. It's time to just get rid of all of this and figure out what the next move is. Rebuild, start over, and align yourselves with Cooper Flagg, not AD, not Kyrie Irving, not Klay Thompson. Because who are we kidding? A team built around Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and a 19-year-old in 2026 is not going to be a team for years to come. Blow it up. Blow it up. So, yeah, I mean, they're not going to reach their expectation. Oh, they might. 39.5 wins. I mean, where would that even put them? They'd have to win 20 more games. That means they'd have to go 500 for the rest of the year, which means they would remain outside of the play-in. So, yeah, the Dallas Mavericks, maybe they could do it. I don't know. We'll see. The Dallas Mavericks, that's my honest opinion. That's my honest opinion. Just have a fire sale. Have a fire sale. I'm going to go ahead and end the TikTokers. If you guys are enjoying the stream, we're still streaming on Twitch, but I am ending the TikTok. So be sure to swing on into the Twitch. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. The link is in my bio. All right. That's a strategic move, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just resetting the algorithm over there. Okay, let's go ahead and move on onto the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets were expected to win 53.5 games and be the 3rd seed out west. Now, that's not crazy. What I will say is the Denver Nuggets have, I think, only won 60 games one time in the Jokic era. So seeing where they were estimated at, that's not crazy. The Denver Nuggets right now are already at 30 wins. They're already at 30. So they need 23 more wins. Or sorry. Yeah. Right? 23 more wins, which I believe they can do. 23 out of the next 40. Why can't they do that? I think the Denver Nuggets will get that. I think Jokic is due back any day now. But something that's very encouraging about the Denver Nuggets is when Jokic went down, I said their goal now needs to be don't fall out into the play-in because it's going to be very difficult to get back. And by golly, I was underestimating this team. I did not think Peyton Watson was going to be the player that he was. I got to be honest. I thought Peyton Watson was just a prolific defensive player with a raw offensive game. And wow, Peyton Watson, he's averaging 15 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block, 51% from the field, 42% from 3. He's been playing absolutely incredible. And if you look up his last 10 games, my Lord, Peyton Watson has been putting up all-star numbers in the time that he's been playing without Jokic. This Jokic injury was a blessing in disguise. They're still the 3rd seed out west. It is truly a blessing in disguise because it allowed everybody else to just grow. I know they've lost some nasty games to the Hornets, to the Lakers. I know that. But they're still the 3rd seed. They're still 2.5 games up on the Rockets for the 4th seed. I was truly expecting this team to just plummet, right? And they didn't. So when I'm looking at the Denver Nuggets and I see Peyton Watson playing as well as he is, Jamal Murray playing at an all-star level, he's going to be a first-time all-star this year. It's awesome. It's awesome, man. I think this is the best Denver Nuggets team in history. I think this is the greatest Denver squad of all time. And it's going to be very, very fun to see what they can do. They're my favorites to come out of the West. I know everybody's got the Oklahoma City Thunder coming out of the West, but I got the Denver Nuggets. I genuinely believe that the Denver Nuggets are going to come out of the West. We can no longer say that Nikola Jokic hasn't played with an all-star. He's got Jamal Murray, and he's going to be his first-time all-star this year. So shout out to the Denver Nuggets. I genuinely believe that they are going to be the ones to come out of the West. As long as they can stay out healthy and Jokic can come back, I think with the additions of Peyton Watson, Bruce Brown off the bench, not playing that many minutes he shouldn't, and then Tim Hardaway Jr. being an absolute flamethrower for them, which is what I called it right from the beginning of the year. I said Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to look like prime Klay Thompson. You can go look at my very first podcast talking about Tim Hardaway Jr. going to the Nuggets. I said it's going to look like prime Klay Thompson, and that's exactly what he's doing. And why do you think so? Because Nikola Jokic demands so much gravity. That's why. And Tim Hardaway Jr. is feeding off of it, just like KCP did, just like prime Bruce Brown did, just like every single shooter that has played with Jokic. I knew he was going to look great. I'd like to give a shout out to AJ Santino. Thank you for leaving the TikTok and coming through to the Twitch stream, my boy. I appreciate you very, very much. Welcome on in. Let's go ahead and move on to the Detroit Pistons. I was actually waiting for this one. The Detroit Pistons were expected, and I want you to hear me loud and clear. The Detroit Pistons were expected to be the 5th seed in the East. The 5th seed in the East. And they were supposed to win 45.5 games. 45.5 games. That's what that team was supposed to win. Well, the Pistons are the hottest team in the East. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games. They are 32-10, and they are not the 5th seed in the East. In fact, they're the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They are 32-10. In fact, just so you guys understand how good of a start this is the second best start in franchise history. A storied franchise of the Detroit Pistons with 3 championships to their name, with 2 dynasties, well, 1 dynasty and 1 championship, and the bad boys and the best 5 alive. The best start of all time was the 2006 Detroit Pistons with Antonio McDyess, and Chauncey and Rip and Tayshaun and all of them. And they're 32-10 right now. They're 22-6 against the Detroit Pistons, against the Eastern Conference. They are 8-3 in their division. They're 17-4 at home, 14-6 on the road. And they've only lost to 1 team twice this season, and that's the Los Angeles Clippers. One of which without 6 of our best players. So, let's talk about the Pistons. What's going right with them? Well, they have a MVP candidate in Cade Cunningham, who's dealing with some injuries right now. What team hasn't dealt with injuries? The Detroit Pistons have rotated 23 different starting lineups this year. So when people tell you, oh, we've had 20, 25 different starting lineups this year. That's why we're underperforming so bad. Don't listen to him. That's a load of malarkey. If they're a good team with a good culture, they can win these games that they're supposed to lose without their starters. In fact, without Cade, they still have a winning record because he's missed like 5 or 6 games. Let's see. Cade Cunningham, he's an all-star starter. Cade Cunningham, he's going to be in the running for an all first team NBA team. Jalen Duren's going to be an all-star, 100% guaranteed, especially now that he's stepping up lately, right before the all-star break, which is great. He's averaging career numbers, 18 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block, 63% from the field, and has expanded his bag beyond belief. He's doing bing fadeaways. He's doing pull-up jumpers. He's doing post-up hook shots on anybody that's in front of him, and he's bodying every single team in the East and Western Conference. Now, the Pistons have won the season series of the Boston Celtics 3-1. They're up 1-0 on the New York Knicks. They're dominating their conference right now. And part of the reason is because they have the best defense in the NBA. Now, I know you guys are saying, no, Jay-Z, the Oklahoma City Thunder have the best defense in the NBA. While that's true, yes, the Detroit Pistons have the best defense since December 1st. Now, that's not a stretch. That is almost 2 months of NBA basketball. What do you call 2 months of NBA basketball? We call that consistency. So the Detroit Pistons have the number one best rated defense in the entire NBA since December 1st. That's including the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are number one. The Detroit Pistons are third in rebounding, first in steals, first in blocks, ninth in field goals made, seventh in field goal percentage. And then they're first and second in every defensive stat. And then I do want to mention this. Right now, they are the worst three-point shooting team or second worst shooting team in the entire association. That is not a recipe for success. If your team is the worst three-point shooting team in the NBA, that is not a good statistic in the modern NBA. But what that is good is for basketball enjoyers, basketball fans, people who enjoy the sport of basketball, people who cry that 2000s basketball is what they miss. If you miss that, watch the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons have more wins in 1.5 seasons under JB Bickerstaff than they did in the previous 4 seasons combined. Over the last season and a half, the Pistons have 75 wins. In the 4 seasons previous to that, 2020 to 2024, they had 74 wins. The Detroit Pistons are doing things that nobody expected. Nobody expected. Duncan Robinson has been the best pickup they could have ever imagined. They did what they can in the offseason because we weren't expecting to lose Malik Beasley and we lost him. Duncan Robinson is averaging 41% from 3 with 12 points per game. They're ahead of schedule. They're beyond ahead of schedule. They get one shot creator and a shooter by the deadline, and the Detroit Pistons are the absolute undisputed favorite in the Eastern Conference. They have the best defense in the NBA since December 1st. They have the second best defense in the NBA if you count all the way back to Halloween, obviously, so since the beginning of the season. They have a bona fide MVP candidate. They have 2 bona fide all-stars. They have veteran leadership. They have the best perimeter defender in the entire NBA in Amen Thompson. He leads all the point of attack stats. They have the undisputed, who should be the defensive player of the year in Isaiah Stewart, but he doesn't start, averaging over 2 blocks per game. They have careless LeVert, who should not be in the NBA. They need to make a move. They need to make a move. They need to get off of careless LeVert. Careless LeVert is shooting 17% from three-point land over his last 15 games. I repeat, Careless LeVert is shooting 17%. 17%. Bro, put me on an NBA court. I'm shooting better than 17%. I am 6'4". I am shooting better than 17% on an NBA court. 17%. 17%. I am as tall as Caris LeVert. I am shooting above 17%. I'm shooting 44% of my adult rec league right now. 44%. You're telling me you're shooting 17% in 15 games. Karis LeVert, make a move, get Klay Thompson, get another wing. This team's an undisputed favorite to come out of the East. Now, my favorite thing about the Detroit Pistons is that they are ahead of schedule. They're not in win now mode, which is great because you know what's crazy? The NBA salaries. I talk about this a lot. The Pistons are not in win now mode. They are ahead of schedule. When you look at the teams in contention of them, the Cleveland Cavaliers are in the second apron. They have the most expensive salary of the year. The New York Knicks are in win now mode. They need to win this year. Otherwise, they're screwed for the next 5 years. Whew. The Dallas Mavericks have to blow up their team. Otherwise, they're in the second apron next year. The Houston Rockets are also going to be top 5 in salary next year. So they're in win now mode. The Orlando Magic are going to have the second most expensive roster next year. They're in win now mode. The Orlando Magic are in win now mode. Are they a win now team? So, for everybody who is wondering where the Pistons are at, they are in the same group as the Brooklyn Nets, Utah Jazz, Washington Wizards, and Memphis Grizzlies as far as salary goes. They have the 4th least amount of salary in the entire NBA. Yet, where are they in the conference? That's right. They're number 1 in the Eastern Conference by a 5.5 game lead of the 2nd seed. So for everybody talking about get Trey Murphy, get Michael Porter Jr., make a huge splash. I beg you, Pistons fans, please don't do this. If you go for a win now move, you're losing Ron Holland in 2 years. If you go win now mode, you're making a risk at losing Asar Thompson. You're going to lose Ron Holland. Keep in mind, everybody, Jalen Duren is getting a max contract this summer. Keep in mind, Asar Thompson is also eligible for this summer for his extension. Jaden Ivey is also up for his contract, but I'd like to trade Ivy. I'm fully out on Ivy. I see somebody in the TikTok, and this is my last message I'll be reading in the TikTok. So if you guys want to talk with me for the rest of today's episode, you have to come to the Twitch stream. I am no longer reading a message from the TikTok anymore. This man said, and I'm quoting him, Ron Holland and Tobias Harris for Cam Thomas. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we call a non-ball. Actually, I can't even call him a non-ball knower. I just have to call that dude a fucking idiot. TikTok, if you guys are enjoying the stream, be sure to swing on into the Twitch stream. We are no longer reading any TikTok messages. That dude ruined it for everybody else over there. If you guys want to talk with me, talk to the rest of my community, be sure to swing right on into my Twitch stream. The Detroit Pistons have crushed all expectations. I told everybody that the Orlando Magic and the Atlanta Hawks were not jumping the Detroit Pistons this year. I said that. I stood by it. I said it before the season. I said everybody is sleeping on the Detroit Pistons. It's Detroit versus everybody, and it'll always be Detroit versus everybody. Pistons fans, let's win a home game in the playoffs this year. It's been 18 years since we've done so. Pistons fans, let's win a playoff series. It's been 18 years since we've done so. Pistons fans, let's see what we got this year. Make a marginal move. Get a shooter. Get a shot creator. Make a marginal move. Do not swing for the home run. You saw it happen with the Orlando Magic. You saw it happen with the Houston Rockets. You saw it happen with the Cleveland Cavaliers. You saw it happen with the New York Knicks. Follow the trend. Be the second coming of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Do not risk it all for 1 year of fame. You have a good team. Make a marginal move and see what happens. You're playing with house money this year, ladies and gentlemen. You have the 4th lowest salary in the entire association. It's not worth the risk. Make a marginal move. See where you're at. You're already the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Number 1 best defense. I just got told that New York owns y'all in the playoffs. 1973, buddy. I'd like to give a special shout out to God Paco, Cameron Baker, Kawhi Boy Peep. Thank you all so very much for leaving the TikTok stream and coming through to the Twitch stream. I'm very happy to have you guys, man. I'm very happy to have y'all. Shout out to all you legends leaving the TikTok and coming into the Twitch stream. I appreciate y'all very, very much. Guys, we are going in order. Okay, so right now we're on the Detroit Pistons up next to the Golden State Warriors. I'd like to give a special shout out to Cameron and Kawhi. I appreciate you guys coming through to the Twitch stream. Welcome on in, everybody. Be sure to join the Discord as well. Type in ! Discord in the Twitch stream. We'd love to have y'all a part of our community. Guys, let's move on to the Golden State Warriors. We still have a long way to go, and we're already at an hour. Holy shit. Oh, my God. Okay. I gotta be honest with everybody, man. We're already an hour into this podcast. TikTok. Make sure you guys swing on into the Twitch stream. It's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. Okay, before I move on to the Golden State Warriors, let me just acknowledge this comment real quick. Cameron said Pistons don't need a roster move. Yes, they absolutely do. They won't win a playoff series. I don't care how good they are right now. They have obvious flaws. They cannot shoot. They need a shooter. They need a shot creator. I do not want to see the Pistons go into the playoffs without one of those things. They need another shooter. You cannot enter the playoffs being the second worst team at three-point shooting in the entire NBA. Again, I got to repeat that. You can win a couple games. Levert. You can win a couple games in the playoffs without shooting, sure, but you are going to get exposed in the playoffs if you cannot shoot threes. Plain and simple. Let's move on to the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors season was going not well, and then it started to go well. Guys, there's so many stupid comments in the TikTok that I got to acknowledge. They're not trading Tobias Harris. He's a trendsetter in the Detroit Pistons franchise. He is a culture setter. Everybody loves Tobias Harris. You cannot trade Tobias Harris. I don't care what your take is on the Pistons. I don't care about anything. I don't care if you don't watch the games. All you need to know is they're not trading Tobias Harris when he is quite literally everybody's favorite teammate. He is everyone's favorite teammate. If you say trade Tobias Harris, you know nothing about Detroit basketball. So just keep your opinions to yourself. Golden State Warriors were expected to win 46.5 games. That is a play-in team. The Golden State Warriors were expected to win 46.5 games. The Golden State Warriors right now are in the play-in. They're 25-11. And when you think about it, you think, okay, they've been having a good year. Now, it wasn't all that good to begin with. It was not a good start for them. But then they got it going. And as soon as they get it going, they lose Jimmy Butler. It's quite unfortunate. Jonathan Kuminga comes in last night and hurts his ankle. So there goes his trade value, if he had any to begin with. The Golden State Warriors right now are in a very scary situation. Jimmy Butler tears his ACL. Jonathan Kuminga, the one guy that they were expected to trade to get some sort of value. I don't know what they're expecting to get out of Jonathan Kuminga, but it doesn't matter anymore. Jonathan Kuminga got hurt. If anybody's going to trade for Jonathan Kuminga, it's going to be mainly because he's a team option. He's an expiring contract. In case you guys don't know, Jonathan Kuminga got signed to a 2-year deal, but only his first year is guaranteed. If some team trades for Jonathan Kuminga and they get him, they can say bye-bye in summer. They don't need him anymore, and it's up to them. So when you see this team, I pray that Curry can muster up the strength to say, I want to go play on another team. Because if he doesn't, they're not going to trade him. And here's the thing about Steph Curry. Steph still has 3, maybe 4 years left to play. He still has those years, right? But his contract expires next summer. So at the end of the day, it's going to be rather difficult for the franchise to look at this team and say, hey, let's give Curry another 2 years. Steve Kerr's contract also ends this summer. Guys, I got to take a seat. I've been standing for an hour and a half now, so I'm going to just go ahead and move my desk down and take a seat so we can continue this podcast. The Golden State Warriors right now are worrying me. Curry's not going to go in and request a trade. He's not going to do that. He's a Golden State Warrior for life. He's not going to do that. So I know he's not going to. Now, the issue is you lost Jimmy Butler, and everyone on this team's contracts align. Everybody expires in 2027. Every single player on this team's contract, other than rookie contracts, expire after next summer. So do we genuinely believe that Steph Curry is going to wake up 16 months from now and just hang it up? Steph Curry is just going to decide, yeah, you know what? I'm done. Steph Curry, who's still the best arguably one of the best shooters in the NBA. 39% from deep, 47% from the field. He's still averaging 27.5 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and his defense is suddenly good. Curry's defense is not bad anymore. I remember back in the day, Curry would get exposed, but his defense is pretty solid now. When you look at this team, people say maybe trade for Giannis. What do you have for Giannis? Are you going to trade your entire future to keep this run? The owners are not going to do that. The owners have made billions of dollars on Steph Curry, billions of dollars on Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. They're done with this era. They just want to honor Steph Curry and give him a competitive team to keep asses in those seats. They're done fueling this era. They're done with it. By the Golden State Warriors lining up all of their contracts to expire next summer, they're ready for the Curry era to end. And if Curry says he wants to come back, of course they'll have him. But they're not going to trade their future picks. If Curry comes in and says, hey, trade these picks, I don't even think they'd listen to him. Because they're focused on what happens after Curry. You guys got to think about this. Because when Michael Jordan retired the second time from the Chicago Bulls, what happened? Hysteria. They had no face. They had no face to their franchise. They had no face, no identity, just a cold and dark arena. So when there's no more Curry, there's no more Golden State. They built that brand new arena, and what's going to happen? Are they going to get lucky? Maybe. But I think they're going to be content with being bad for a few years after Curry. If Curry wants to come back, he'll come back. The question is if he wants to. Golden State, Curry, one of my favorite players of all time. It's truly sad to see him go out like Dirk. I don't like saying like Kobe, because Kobe was hurt a lot in his last couple of years. Curry's been relatively healthy. It really sucks that Jimmy went down. It's not like they were going to win it all this year, but you can't tell me that the Warriors couldn't surprise us all and win a playoff series, right? You can't tell me that. I could see the Warriors taking out the Suns, the Lakers. I could have seen that. But now we'll never know. We'll never know. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to another West Coast team, the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets were projected to win 55.5 games. The Houston Rockets are currently sitting in the 4th seed in the West with 26 wins. And the Houston Rockets, believe it or not, are 9.5 games back from the 1st seed. 3.5 games back of the 2nd seed. But here's the scary thing. They're half a game out of the play-in. Half a game out of the play-in. In fact, something I predicted is happening again with the Houston Rockets. You can go look at my very first podcast of me projecting this team and predicting of what I thought was going to happen. I said Kevin Durant is going to have a great year. He's going to have a great year of efficiency. He's probably going to average between 25 and 30 points per game, and he's going to be their great offensive spark. The issue is, y'all sense the bad vibes around this team again, right? Y'all sense it, right? We're blaming Jabari Smith Jr. Hell, I see people on Twitter talking about Alperen Şengün saying he's the problem. I see Rockets fans saying he's the problem. I see people saying that trading Dylan Green was a mistake. I see people blaming Jabari Smith Jr. I see people blaming Reed Shepherd. I see people blaming Steven Adams going down. I see people blaming that Fred VanVleet went down. The fact that you're seeing those fingers point in every which way is the Kevin Durant experience. Now, this is not Kevin Durant's fault on the court. I'd like to point that out really quickly. Kevin Durant is an incredible player. Kevin Durant is the most pure scorer in NBA history. 26 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, almost a steal, a block, 52% from the field, 40% from deep, and 89% from the free throw line. That's damn near a 50-40-90, okay? They need somebody to blame. They need somebody to blame. Nobody's blaming you, KD. Nobody. But unfortunately, that curse is following you yet again. There is no reason that a 37-year-old man turning 38 this year needs to be the center of the offense. There's no reason that when a 37-year-old man steps off the court, your entire offense falls apart. There's no reason for that dark rain cloud to follow you everywhere you go, Kevin Durant. Do you deserve it for going to Golden State? Maybe. I'm not God. I can't judge you. Are you arguably one of the greatest scorers of all time? Yes, you are. There's no reason that you have to bear this sort of weight on a team. They wanted Şengün to be the focal point of the offense. He's not. All Şengün does is slow everything down. They wanted Amen Thompson to take that big leap, and he has. He's trying to score, which is great. It's unlike his brother Asar. Asar plays amazing when he's aggressive, and I think he needs to play just like his brother and be aggressive. That's the only difference between Amen and Asar. Asar is not aggressively looking to get his own bucket. Amen is looking aggressively to get his own bucket. The Houston Rockets right now are bottom 5 in assists. The Houston Rockets are bottom 5 in three-point shooting. The Houston Rockets defense is pretty good. Without Steven Adams, that's a grade 3 injury. He's going to be out for a couple months here. Their rebounding is going to plummet. Their defense is going to plummet. They were so big. They're not that big anymore. When you lose Steven Adams, you lose a lot. And something I see out of this team is not enough credit going to Reed Shepherd and not enough blame going to Ime Udoka. A lot of times I say blaming the coach is such a cheap shot. Kenny Atkinson gets the blame. He just won Coach of the Year and now they want him fired. Jamal Mosley is getting the blame in Orlando. Might be deserved. You have to make a decision like that when your team is underperforming the way they are. Ime Udoka, it goes beyond schematics. What I'm paying attention to is rotations. Holy shit, dude. Why are you sitting out Reed Shepherd when he's your one ball handler that can shoot? I'm sorry, but Reed Shepherd doesn't give enough up on defense to not be playing in an overtime game. He should be playing in overtime last night. I'm not even talking about last night's game. But what I see out of Reed Shepherd, yes, he's not that efficient, and that's because he's not that tall, but they don't set up plays for him. And what they're doing with their misuse of Jabari Smith Jr. is disgusting. Jabari Smith Jr. got extended over Tari Eason. They said, Jabari, we want you, not Tari Eason. And by you choosing him means that his entire game gets changed from dunker spot, wings position, backdoor cuts, to sitting in the corner. We're sitting Jabari Smith Jr. in the corner and you just extended him? Are we really watching 37-year-old Kevin Durant work from the elbow and that's our game plan? They need a playmaker. They need Fred VanVleet back. They need three-point shooting. The Houston Rockets are underperforming. Could it be because their coach? Could it be because their lack of playmaking? Could it be because of the Kevin Durant curse, the rain cloud that follows him everywhere he goes? Could it be injuries? I don't know. But it's a lot to be paying attention to. Ladies and gentlemen, we are officially halfway done. Oh my God. Up next is the Indiana Pacers. We're going to move with some pace here, okay? The Indiana Pacers, they were expected to win 38 and a half games. 38 and a half. Wow. The Indiana Pacers are not on pace to win 38 and a half. The Indiana Pacers right now are currently the worst team in the Eastern Conference. I did not expect that. You didn't expect that. None of us expected that. The team has been going through injuries. There's been a lot of injuries for the Indiana Pacers. They're sitting at 10 and 35. There's been a lot of injuries. There's been a lot of shameless tanking as well. I'll be fully honest with everybody. I see it. You see it. There's been a lot of shameless tanking. Sitting out Pascal Siakam, Andrew Nembhard, Ben Shepherd, Ben Mathurin on all back-to-backs. Come on now. There's been a lot of intentional tanking here. I'm surprised they haven't been fined yet. The Indiana Pacers suck. They're really bad. They put together some nice wins and then lose 10 times more. No Tyrese, obviously. No Miles Turner. They need a center. I think that they're leading the charge and getting Daniel Gafford. That would be a nice center for the future. I think I'd like Daniel Gafford or Nick Claxton. I think those are great pieces that they should try to look at. Maybe even a Vitsi Zubac. That'd be fun. Tyrese Halliburton. I've talked about it a lot. That Achilles tear for a guard that is prolific, using his burst, his mobility, and his lateral quickness. I'm not going to say Tyrese Halliburton's career is over, but what I will say is Tyrese Halliburton is not going to look the same. Jason Tatum is going to look different, but Jason Tatum is going to be able to bounce back the way that Kevin Durant bounced back. As far as Tyrese Halliburton and Damian Lillard, players who thrive off of their burst and mobility and lateral quickness, I'm very concerned at how they're going to look at when they come back. I'm not going to put anything in the air. I'm not going to manifest anything. All I'll say is Tyrese Halliburton is going to look very different come next year. TikTok, if you guys are enjoying the stream, be sure to come through to the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. The link is in my bio. Guys, be sure to click the profile picture and then click the link in my bio, or just go to the Twitch app and look up Jay-Z Uncut. We do this Monday through Friday. Today's an extended episode because we're looking at every single team in the NBA. We're talking about their midseason reviews. So be sure to come through to the Twitch stream. I'm being told by the TikTok that Tyrese will be okay. He's young. Next year, of course, but the year after is when he'll be back to himself. That is not how Achilles injuries work, my friend. My apologies. He's going to look completely different. You will never, the Tyrese of past, he'll still hit the shots that he was, but the explosiveness and mobility and lateral quickness, as far as NFL injuries go, basketball injuries go, and Achilles injury is the one injury that changes a player's trajectory of their entire career. I love you, Pacers fans, and I hate to say that to you, but that is the unfortunate truth of every single Achilles injury that has ever happened in every single sport as far as NFL and NBA goes. You cannot bounce back to your old self. Now, you can bounce back as a new player, but the old player is gone. And the fact that you're bringing up DeAnthony Melton as an example is all I need to know. Let's go ahead and move on. We're talking about the LA Clippers. Now, I'm going to be quick about this. The LA Clippers were horrible. They had 6 wins for the first 3 months of the season. And that's an ACL as well. That's not an Achilles. Oh, you already corrected yourself. So the LA Clippers started horrible, and now they're great, man. The Clippers are getting back into the play-in. They started the season, I believe, 6-20 something. They're back in the play-in. They're back in the, actually, are they? Yeah, they're the 10th seed. They just moved the Grizzlies out of the way. The LA Clippers, courtesy of Kawhi Leonard, are 8-2 out of the last 10 games. They're playing incredibly well right now. But as I always say, I don't believe in the Los Angeles Clippers. So Clippers fans, any of you guys that were expecting me to dive deep into this team, my apologies. I will never get scammed by the Los Angeles Clippers. I said it before the start of the season. I will never believe in the Los Angeles Clippers. I don't care if they're the 1st seed. I don't care if they're the 2nd seed. I don't care if they're the 3rd seed. I don't care if they're the 4th seed. I don't care if they're the 5th seed. I don't care if they're the 6th seed. I don't care if they're the 7th seed. I don't care if they're the 8th seed. I don't care if they're the 9th seed. I don't care if they're the 10th seed. I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. The Los Angeles Clippers, I'll never believe in them. I'll never believe in James Harden. I love him, but I'll never believe in him. I'll never believe in being the oldest team in the NBA. They are the oldest team in the NBA. Guys, they're not just the oldest team in today's NBA. They are the oldest team in NBA history. If you believe in the oldest team in NBA history, you and I are not going to agree on any take. They are the oldest team in NBA history. The average age being the oldest in NBA history. And no, Ray, I was not talking about Jason Tatum. He's going to bounce back, but he's not going to look like previous Tatum. Just like how Kevin Durant doesn't look like old Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's still great. He's just not old Kevin Durant. Let's move on to the LA Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers were expected. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention the Los Angeles Clippers were expected to win 47.5 games. That's still possible now. The Lakers were expected to be the 6th seed, the final seed of the playoffs, 46.5 wins. The Los Angeles Lakers has been a team that I haven't talked about a lot this year because I don't like talking about big markets. I like talking about middle markets, small markets. And the Los Angeles Lakers, in my opinion, are one of the teams I take the least serious in the NBA. They got lucky. In case you guys don't know, this is a very fun statistic that I always turn heads when I say this because nobody knows. In case you guys don't know, for the last 25 years, since the turn of the century, the Los Angeles Lakers have been the biggest moneymaker of the NBA. You all know that, right? Since the Showtime Lakers, since the Kobe Shaq Lakers, they've been the biggest moneymaker in the NBA. You guys know that, right? You know that. That's not the fun stat. This is the fun stat. Get ready to have your heads turned. The Los Angeles Lakers over the last 26 years have had a handcrafted schedule as far as their NBA calendar goes every single year. They build everyone else's schedule around the Los Angeles Lakers schedule, meaning they play bad teams for the first 5 months of the NBA season, except for holidays and events. And then at the end of the season, they have their hardest schedule out of all the 30 teams in the NBA. They have the hardest schedule. Do you know why that is? It's because football ends. So they say, okay, now that football's over, they're going to be watching the Lakers. The casuals are going to be watching the Lakers. Make sure they have good headline games for the rest of the year. And that's how it's been for the last 26 years. The Los Angeles Lakers always have easy schedules as the year starts, except for holidays. And then it just ramps the fuck up. You don't believe me? Let's go ahead and look at their schedule. So, starting here, obviously Mavs, Bulls, Cavs, Wizards. Football's still going on. Does anybody know when the Super Bowl is? When's the Super Bowl? Let me look it up. When's the Super Bowl? February 8th. You guys ready? February 1st, they play the Knicks. February 3rd, they play the Nets. February 5th, the 76ers. February 7th, the Golden State Warriors. February 9th, the Oklahoma City Thunder. February 10th, the San Antonio Spurs. February 12th, the Dallas Mavericks. February 20th, the Los Angeles Clippers. February 22nd, the Boston Celtics. Orlando Magic. The Phoenix Suns. The Golden State Warriors. The Sacramento Kings. The New Orleans Pelicans. They give them a little bit of a break and then get ready to ramp up again. The Denver Nuggets. The Indiana Pacers. The New York Knicks. The Minnesota Timberwolves, the Chicago Bulls, the Denver Nuggets, the Houston Rockets, the Miami Heat, the Orlando Magic, the Detroit Pistons, the Indiana Pacers, the Brooklyn Nets, the Washington Wizards, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Dallas Mavericks, the Thunder, again, the Warriors, the Suns, the Jazz. This team's a play-in team. The Los Angeles Lakers are not making the playoffs. Book it. It's a play-in team. The Los Angeles Lakers have arguably the worst stats of a playoff team. No, actually, it's not arguable. They are a 6th seed right now in the Western Conference. And I've shown this statistic many, many times. I'm going to show you something. I'm getting told we haven't been healthy by missing Austin Reeves. I'm going to show you another team that has not been healthy. In fact, they have not been healthy all year. They've rotated 24 different starting lineups. That's the Detroit Pistons. Let's go ahead and look at their... It's all green. It's all green, right? You see all green right here, right? Let's go ahead and look at the Los Angeles Lakers, right? I want to show you how bad this team truly is. You see this? It's all red, baby. It's all red. They're 26th in rebounding, 25th in assists, 28th in blocks, 29th in field goals made, 23rd in three-pointers made, 23rd in three-pointers attempted, 23rd in three-point percentage. The Lakers are the worst the third worst defensive team in the NBA. The third worst defensive team in the NBA. I repeat, they are the third worst defense in the NBA. They are the 5th worst team at moving the ball around. Let's go ahead and look at any other team that is ahead of them. Let's look at the Phoenix Suns. The only things they're bad at is assists, rebounds, and scoring. Everything else, they blow them out of the water. And by the way, I'm being told that it's because they didn't have Austin Reeves. It was all red with Austin Reeves as well, because unfortunately, Austin Reeves means less Marcus Smart, which means less defense. Your defense can't get much worse, ladies and gentlemen. Your defense is the 3rd worst in the NBA. The Los Angeles Lakers will be a play-in team. Luka Doncic is arguably the worst shot chucker I've ever watched in the NBA. He's shooting 33% from deep. Do you know how many attempts he's taking? He is attempting almost 11 three-pointers a night. And he's shooting 33% from deep. It was so bad last night. DeAndre Ayton got sat and didn't play for the rest of the game. Luka Doncic is averaging a lot of points. Luka Doncic is also attempting a lot of shots. He plays no defense. Austin Reeves plays no defense. You can look this roster up and down, and they have the worst defense ratings in the entire NBA. I'm being told that the Lakers are signing Jokic next year. All right, let's go ahead and move on because there's no sense in me discussing with people who do not understand the sport of basketball. Let's go ahead and move on from the Lakers because apparently they're getting Nikola Jokic next summer. All right, let's go ahead and move on. I was going to talk more about the Lakers, but let me just not. The Memphis Grizzlies have been disappointing again. We've talked about the Memphis Grizzlies a lot this year. They were expected to be a play-in team at 40.5 wins. They are outside the play-in, looking in with 18 wins. Ja Morant's on the trading block. Jaren Jackson Jr. is on the trading block. Everybody is on the trading block. One good thing I'll say is their two-way player, Pat Spencer. Cam Spencer is the one on the Golden State Warriors. Jaren Jackson Jr. obviously got extended, but he's on the top of the trade market. They extended Santi Aldama, and I hear that they're keeping him. Good things about this team is Cedric Coward. He's fun, but there's honestly not many bright spots out in Memphis. They haven't been healthy all year. They've been missing Scottie Pippen Jr. and Ty Jerome all year long. They need to just get rid of Ja, get rid of Jaren Jackson Jr. They've been disappointing. I'm going to move with pace for this team. They're not going to make the play-in. They're not going to make the playoff. They could make the play-in if they don't trade Ja or Jaren Jackson Jr. But I mean, they should. They should trade them. They should start over. We need a rebuild. They've been prolonging this rebuild for a long, long time. Let's go ahead and move on to everyone's favorite team, the Miami Heat. They are the 8th seed in the East. Who would have saw that coming? They're projected to be the 10th seed. So they are overachievers this year, ladies and gentlemen. They are overachievers. They were expected to win 39.5 games this year. They are already at 23. They're 23-22, baby. Miami Heat, they are consistent, y'all. They win one, they lose one. They win one, they lose one. They win one, they lose one. They lose a bunch, they win one. They lose one, they win a bunch. They lose a bunch, they win one. They lose a bunch, they win a bunch. They lose a bunch, they win a bunch. The Miami Heat are the epitome of consistency. You cannot, when in doubt, believe in the Miami Heat making that play-in, y'all. I was saving this for this segment. Shout out to Big Beezy, my #1 Heat fan, with a resub. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for the resub on Twitch. Shout out Bees. Shout out New. Shout out Master Planner. Shout out all my Heat fans. Heat Nation, stand up. All seriousness. Norm Powell's been incredible. All-star candidate. I don't think they're going to give it to him, but he's an all-star candidate. They're in every trade talk, but won't make the trade. They're getting Giannis. They're getting Ja Morant. Hell, they convinced Michael Jordan to come out of retirement. They're not going anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. The Miami Heat are in every single trade conversation that they could be imaginable. The Miami Heat. So I was told by my good friend Big Beezy in the Twitch stream. He told me the Miami Heat were going to be a 3rd seed this year. He said the Miami Heat are going to be the 3rd seed this year. And I said, wow, that's crazy. He also told me that Bam Adebayo was a better player to build around than Cade Cunningham. So, the Miami Heat they're going to be a play-in team again. They might make the playoffs. And if they do make the playoffs and they go up against the Pistons, it'll be a fun, close series. It'll be a fun sweep, to say it lightly. It'll be a very fun and entertaining sweep. Every game will be close, but it'll be a sweep the Pistons' way. The trade deadline is 2 weeks from now, and I think Miami should get active. He did say the 3 to 8 seed. He did say that. Yeah, the Miami Heat, they're doing what they do every year. They're doing what they do every year. The craziest part is even though they're out, they're still in. Because the Miami Heat technically are only 3.5 games out of the New York Knicks. For the 3rd seed, they're only 3.5 games behind. The issue is they can't string together wins without stringing together losses. If they win 3 straight, they're going to lose 4. If they lose 3 straight, they're going to win 3. And that's the Miami Heat's mantra all year. So my thing is, the Miami Heat right now, they're not going to trade for Ja. They're not going to trade for Sabonis. They're not going to make a marginal trade. They genuinely believe that they can get Giannis Antetokounmpo. Why not? Tyler Hero, Simone Finchidio, Davion Mitchell. Why not? Fuck it. Trade everything. Hell, trade the fucking beach. I'm sure Milwaukee would appreciate that. The Miami Heat have arguably the worst offer for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Not just that. What's going to be left when they make that trade for Giannis? They don't have a trade package for Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Oklahoma City Thunder can offer 5 picks. The San Antonio Spurs can offer 7 picks. You're telling me they want Simone Finchidio? Let's go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead. Yeah, because Giannis Antetokounmpo and Norman Powell are going to be the key components to a championship team. I got my number one Milwaukee fan in this bitch. Let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks were expected to win 43.5 games. They were expected to be the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. And honestly, I believe it. Unfortunately for the Milwaukee Bucks, they are outside of the play and looking in. They're 18-25. Giannis isn't shooting. Giannis isn't calling for the ball. Giannis wants to be traded today. He doesn't want to be traded tomorrow. Giannis likes to be a hot girl in school today. He doesn't like to be talked about tomorrow. Giannis likes to flex and show off that, yeah, we won. But then when somebody flexes and shows off that they beat him, he says that is not right. So Giannis, my baby, get out of Milwaukee. It's not going to happen by the trade deadline. I think it's going to happen in the offseason. The Milwaukee Bucks have been incredibly disappointing. Miles Turner was a horrible signing. They got to move him. They got to figure this out. Giannis is depressed. He's got seasonal depression as well. The Bucks need to fire the most overrated coach in NBA history, Doc Rivers. They treat that 2008 championship like he won 10. Doc Rivers is a horrendous coach. I've been talking about doing a podcast where we rank NBA coaches, and Doc Rivers would be on the top of the list as far as most overrated coaches in NBA history. Doc Rivers is horrible. I think they got to move Giannis. They have to. They're not going to do it in the next 2 weeks. They're going to wait until the offseason. But they'll only trade Giannis if Giannis says, trade me. That's the only way they'll trade him. They won't do it otherwise. The Milwaukee Bucks future is very, very bright if they go ahead and they do trade Giannis. I believe they can get 6 picks from the Thunder. I think they can get 6 picks from the Spurs. I think the least enticing offers there are the New York Knicks offer and the Miami Heat's offer. I think everybody else, I think the Milwaukee Bucks' rebuild is going to look very, very pretty. Because when you get rid of Giannis, when you trade a talent like that, you're getting so much back. Yeah. Bucks fans, it's going to suck when he's finally gone, but don't worry, your future is going to look bright. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to Minnesota. Now, if we did this episode a week ago, this would be a very different angle of conversation, because a week ago, the Minnesota Timberwolves were in the 2nd seed and they dropped. They were in the 3rd seed, and then they dropped all the way to the play-in. The Minnesota Timberwolves, I believe, have lost 4 straight. They've lost 4 straight. And they lost against the Rockets, they lost against the Spurs, they lost against the Jazz, and they lost against the Bulls. The Minnesota Timberwolves are one of my favorite teams to talk about in the NBA, because you guys know I'm a big defense guy, right? And I like defending defensive studs like Rudy Gobert. Did you guys know that Rudy Gobert has the highest split between a plus minus on when he's on the court versus when he's off the court? When Rudy Gobert is off the court, the per 100 possessions, the Minnesota Timberwolves are getting outscored by 15 points. Did you guys know that? It's a 15-point fucking swing for Rudy Gobert. You're telling me when Rudy Gobert comes out of the game, you're losing by 15 points? So I will not allow any Rudy Gobert slander. I won't allow it. Rudy Gobert is the most important part of this team. You can't tell me Anthony Edwards is. You can't tell me Julius Randle is. If that's a 15-point swing when Rudy Gobert is on or off, he's obviously the most important part of this team. Without him, they're nothing as far as defensive goes. So Minnesota, they're in the play-in right now. They'll be a playoff team, obviously. It just goes to show how chaotic the Western Conference is. The teams being as close as they are, if you have one bad week, you lose and you fall into the play-in. Just like that, the Minnesota Timberwolves are 3 games outside the 3rd seed, 4 games outside the 2nd seed, and they are 10 games outside the number 1 seed. So, talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm excited about where they're going to be. But yeah, this year is going to be very telling. If they don't get it done this year, then they are going to make a lot of moves, man. They're going to make a lot of moves. They're going to make a lot of moves, ladies and gentlemen. A lot. This is their year. They've made 2 Western Conferences in a row. If they don't get there this year, I don't see them ever getting there, because this is the best Anthony Edwards you're ever going to get. There's not much more Ant can do offensively other than defensively. Jaden McDaniels is looking great, but at some point in time, you're going to have to make a trade. It's disappointing that they haven't gotten a young point guard. Like it's pretty clear as day that they're missing a ball handler. It's pretty clear as day that they're missing a playmaker. There's no reason that you have not found him a point guard. And I hear the Ja Morant discussion all the time. Ja Morant wouldn't help because you would need to package either Rudy Gobert or Jaden McDaniels in that package. Sayonara to your defense. If you bring Ja Morant in, he shoots 19% from 3. He would take the ball away from Ant, and he's a traffic cone on defense, almost worse than Jalen Brunson on defense. So no, if they would be trading their entire offensive scheme for an offensive persona rather than a defensive persona, so I think they should stay very far away from Ja Morant. The Minnesota Timberwolves, again, they were projected to win how many games? 49.5, and they are at 27.5. Yikes, they're not going to get it. That's 22 more wins. They're going to have to finish the year off the way they did last year. I think they finished last year off of 18-2. If they can manage to go on a crazy streak like that, I think they'll be fine. I think they will be fine. TikTok, I'm going to go ahead and end that stream. If you guys are enjoying the stream, be sure to swing right on into the Twitch stream. I would appreciate all of you guys leaving that stream and coming through to the Twitch stream. I am ending the TikTok, so I hope to see you guys come through to the Twitch. That's JZ Uncut on Twitch. Link in my bio. I'm just ending it again for algorithm's sake, guys. Hope everybody's enjoying the show. I know today's been dragging. I know a lot of people have been leaving today's stream. If I can get a favor from one of my mods, if you can go ahead and at everyone in the Discord and say we are still live. This episode is dragging to almost 3 hours long. I would appreciate it. Be sure to add everyone as well. It would mean a lot for me. Podcast listeners, if you guys are still listening, be sure to drop a like, leave a 5-star rating and review, and tip your fucking streamers. Here we go. The New Orleans Pelicans. Let's talk about the worst team in the Western Conference, arguably the worst team in the entire NBA. The New Orleans Pelicans are one of those teams right now that you can look at and question what has gone wrong. Now, the New Orleans Pelicans were expected to win 30.5 games this year. I repeat, they were expected to win 30.5 games this year. Ricky, thanks so much for the follow on Twitch. Welcome on in, baby. Exclamation point Discord, bro. Join that. We'd love to have you in here, my man. Join the Discord. Welcome on in, Ricky. It's a much better experience over here. Don't be watching on TikTok ever again. Just so you guys know, if you guys are new here and you watch 3 Twitch streams in a row, I will single-handedly gift you a sub if you watch 3 Twitch streams in a row. That's right. I will reach into my own pocket and gift you your very own $5 sub so you get no ads for the next 30 days. All right? So, the New Orleans Pelicans were supposed to win 30.5 games this year. Well, ladies and gents, that is not what's happening. They have won 10. They are on pace to win 20. This is getting scary, guys. This is getting scary. So, let's talk about them. The New Orleans Pelicans decided to kick off this year by trading away their pick next year. That's right. Joe Dumars, the man known for drafting Darko Milicic for the Pistons over Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, and Chris Bosh. The man that also single-handedly built the Pistons' legacy, but also tore it down by letting Ben Wallace walk and by trading Chauncey Billups for Allen Iverson, who was washed and didn't want to play basketball anymore. He also gave Charlie Villanueva a $45 million contract in the 2010s, which is a lot of money. Also, Ben Gordon, he gave him $56 million, which is a lot of money for players back then, as well as Josh Smith. He gave him $60 million, and Josh Smith was so fucking bad that the Pistons had to waive him. So the Pistons didn't have Josh Smith anymore, started in 2014, and they ended up paying Josh Smith until COVID. They were paying Josh Smith $6 million a year for 5 more years after that. This is the man that ruined an entire franchise, piece after piece, pick after pick, drafting Greg Monroe over DeMarcus Cousins and Kemba Walker, drafting Andre Drummond over a lot of stars, drafting Brandon Knight over a lot of stars, drafting Stanley Johnson over a lot of stars, drafting Luke Kennard over Donovan Mitchell, drafting, I think, Stanley Johnson over Devin Booker. So that's all Joe Dumars. Now, as far as the Pelicans go, he traded away a pick. He traded away a pick. They traded away next year's pick because they believe that they'd be good. I can tell you, as a unbiased fan, not once did I look at this team and say, this is a good team. They can make the play-in. They traded away their pick. They don't have a pick. In fact, I believe they have one draft pick until 2031. Ladies and gentlemen, this team has been horribly mismanaged. This team is the worst team in the entire league. And they have one pick until 2031. Guys, 2031. 2031. Oh, okay, they have their picks after 2026. My apologies. This is the worst NBA team. This is the worst team ever in NBA history. In 24 years, they have won 2 playoff series. I repeat, in 24 years, they have won 2 playoff series. They've had numerous number 1 picks, numerous generational talents, numerous opportunities at rebuilding. Their training staff is horrible. Their front office is horrible. Their owner is corrupt and horrible. The fan base doesn't deserve what they get. And now again, when you think all is well, when you think it can't get worse, Joe Dumars comes out, and anybody that knows who Joe Dumars is, he's not a smart guy. He doesn't say things because he's playing chess while we're playing checkers. Everything he says has value and intention behind it. He said, we're not looking to trade any of our guys. He is dead fucking serious. Pistons legend, though. I'm not denying his play. I love Joe Dumars as a player, but as a GM. He said, we're not looking to trade any of our guys. Herb Jones, you're a Pelican, buddy. Jose Alvarado, you ain't going nowhere. Sadiq Bey, New Orleans, fam. Herb Jones, Kevon Looney, Yves Missy, Trey Murphy, DeJounte Murray, Jordan Poole, Zion Williamson. We're not looking to trade anybody. We have 6 untouchables. You must have a lot of wins then if you got 6 untouchable players, right? They have 10 wins. They're the worst team in the NBA. They have no past. They have no present. They have no future. Joe Dumars genuinely believes that he has 5 untouchables on this basketball team. Joe Dumars genuinely believes that Herb Jones is worth 2 first-round picks. Ladies and gentlemen, Herb Jones is shooting his career worst 3-point percentage right now at 33%. Herb Jones is shooting 39% from the field. This guy is averaging. Sorry, somebody named Bankai Judgment came into the Twitch stream and said, go die. Wait, is he a Pelicans fan or is he an anime fan? He is a Sparking Zero fan. He came in here when I used to stream Sparking Zero. He said, go die, you trash, you bum. I think somebody's mad that Sparking Zero died. Sorry, that got me off topic. Herb Jones is averaging 9.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists. And he's averaging 33% from three-point land. He's not healthy. He hasn't been healthy in 2 years. And he is asking for 2 first-round picks. for a man that can play 35 minutes in a game, go 1 for 9 from the field against the Los Angeles Lakers, who genuinely don't even play defense. And you're asking for 2 first-round picks. Joe Dumars genuinely believes that DeJounte Murray is going to come back from the dead and resurrect this team. Pelicans fans, Liam, I implore you guys to find a different franchise to be a fan of. You have Troy Weaver and Joe Dumars at the helm, and Gale as the owner. Honestly, I never say this about many teams. I never want to wish this upon any fan base in the world. We're getting 2 new franchises in the Seattle Supersonics and the Vegas team coming in. I think it's time to just say fuck it and relocate this basketball team. You've had no success in your 24 years of existing. You've had numerous generational talents join your team. Pelicans fans, I'm genuinely sorry. I'm genuinely sorry. This is coming from a fan who watched their team suck ass for 18 years. This team is bad. This team has always been bad. This team will always be bad. I don't see them coming out of the mud. Sorry that this podcast took a dark turn. Pistons fans, I mean, hey, our fan base is open to you. Liam, if you'd like to join. Pelicans fans, seriously, my heart goes out to all of y'all. My heart goes out to all of y'all. There's somebody in the TikTok that said, been a Pelicans fan for almost 12 years now. Ken, come to the Twitch stream. We have the God's strongest Pelicans fan in my Twitch stream, and he needs some comforting right now, Ken. So please come to the Twitch stream, Ken. Same with you, Real Wild Rebel. And sorry, same with you, Slam Dunk. You're a Pistons fan, so am I. Come to the Twitch stream, guys. We'd love to have y'all a part of here. My Pelicans fan is very depressed right now in the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. The link is in my bio. Let's move on to the New York Knicks, y'all. We have been on this podcast for an hour and 45 fucking minutes. The New York Knicks. Woo! In New York! The New York Knicks. The New York Knicks. The New York Knicks. They're projected to be the 2nd seed in the East. 52.5 wins. The New York Knicks right now have 26 wins, and they are the 3rd seed in the East. Bit underachieving this year. Obviously, they went through that stretch. They are 3. They have 3 wins out of their last 11 games. They are celebrating stomping the Brooklyn Nets as if they won a championship, just like how when they won the NBA Cup, they're celebrating as if they won a championship. The New York Knicks right now are a team with no identity. And Jalen Brunson held that team meeting, and I think that could do it. I think that could bring a sense of urgency to this basketball team, okay? Karl Anthony Towns has been disappointed this year. Mikal Bridges, y'all traded 5 first-round picks for him. Karl Anthony Towns for Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle. It's not over for the New York Knicks by any means, but they are in win-now mode. So they have to win this year. That's all I'm going to say. They have to win this year. The New York Knicks have been disappointing this year. They have not looked good, especially with the signing of Mike Brown as their head coach. A couple free agent pieces like Yabusele, Jordan Clarkson, the development of Tyler Kolek, and Deuce McBride. This team genuinely needs a spark. I believe their schedule gets a little bit more difficult from here on out. They play Philly, they play Sacramento, they play Toronto, they play Portland, then they play the Lakers. So it's going to be a difficult stretch. They also, I believe, have 2 more games against the Detroit Pistons. What I will say about the New York Knicks is playoffs matter. So as long as they can get going and start clicking before the playoffs, I'm not worried about this team. They're still the favorites to come out of the Eastern Conference. But Knicks fans are lying when they say they're not worried about the Pistons. Knicks fans are lying when they say they're not worried about the Boston Celtics. They're worried. They're all worried. If you meet a Knicks fan that says they're not worried, don't believe them. They're worried. Okay? So the New York Knicks got to get clicking. It's not too late. They got plenty of time. Yabusele apparently is tweeting that whatever happens, happens. It sounds like he's being traded. I don't know. Jalen Brunson is one of the best second half players in the entire NBA. He'll get going. Just don't run him into the ground. Just don't run him into the ground. That's my advice. Let's move on to the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is going to be the fastest team that we do. The Oklahoma City Thunder were projected to win 62.5. Oklahoma City are the number 1 seed in the NBA with 37 wins, 37-8. They're going to break it. They're going to get it. They're going to get those wins. Oklahoma is favorites to win the NBA championship. Let's move on. I'm not talking about them. There's no sense in talking. No, but actual J-Dub is hurt, and that's going to be worrisome in the playoffs. I know some fans, the casuals, just are saying, like, thank God that J-Dub is out. They were 33-1 without J-Dub. They're going to start winning games now. No, that's not the point, man. That ain't the point. They need J-Dub. Otherwise, they're not going to win a championship this year. So I'm just saying that for everybody in the back that's listening. Without J-Dub, they are not winning a championship because they got to get through the Denver Nuggets, who this is the best Denver Nuggets team of all time. Okay? So anybody celebrating the fact that J-Dub is out because they think they're better, they're not. They need J-Dub. Yeah. Still the best team in the NBA. Nobody's denying that. Let's go ahead and move on to the Orlando Magic, another team that needs some more time spent on them. The Orlando Magic, they were expected to be 50. They were expected to win 50 games. 50.5. 50.5. Well, the Orlando Magic right now are sitting in the play-in. The Orlando Magic are sitting in the play-in with a record of 23-20, coming off of a loss of the Charlotte Hornets. They haven't been healthy. That's not new. This has been every year for them. Same old stuff every year. Suggs goes down. Suggs comes back. Suggs goes down. Paolo comes in. Paolo sucks. Paolo comes back. He's good. Paolo goes out. Franz comes in. Franz lights it up without Paolo. Franz goes down. Paolo comes back without Franz. They both come back. They play 3 games together, and they suck. And then they keep getting hurt. The Orlando Magic have been incredibly disappointing because in the times that they have been healthy, they have not looked good. They haven't. Their defense slipped. This was a defensive focused team, and yet they're not playing defense anymore. This was a team that thrived off of defense. They don't play defense anymore. They're focusing on offense. They're letting Paolo Banchero pull up for 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 when he sucks at shooting. Desmond Bane's their most consistent player, but that's the issue, ladies and gentlemen. I've shown this image 100 times already, but I'll show it one more time. The Orlando Magic next year have the second most expensive roster in the NBA. They traded for Desmond Bane. They gave extensions to their best players. They have the second most expensive roster in the entire NBA next year. The second most expensive roster in the NBA next year. They are in win now mode. They should be the model franchise, the model example for every team when you say trade for that one player. Because sometimes you rush trading for that one player. That one player was Desmond Bane. They rushed it. They rushed that trade for Desmond Bane. The Orlando Magic could have really got Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Orlando Magic could have really gotten a superstar, not a role player in Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane is the final piece to a championship level team. And yet you traded 4 first-round picks and swapped a 5th for Desmond Bane. You rushed your timeline. Your window that was like this is now like this. Because now, when you don't win a championship next year, you have to trade Paolo or Franz. You forced your hand. You showed your hand too quickly, and now you have to win. The Orlando Magic rushed their timeline. They made their large window tiny, and now it's scary. And now Magic fans can't enjoy watching their team. I don't think a single Magic fan has enjoyed watching this team this year because it's just stress. It's just excruciating. It's just pain. You wanted to go into this year and see improvement upon last. You didn't. They were expected to jump the Pistons, the Hawks, the Celtics, Philly, the Heat. And instead, they're in the play-in right now. I believe they'll make a jump. Can I be honest, my Magic fans? I genuinely believe that you guys can get the 4th seed locked up. I genuinely believe you guys can get home court advantage. I'm not kidding. The Magic are only, and I repeat, only 2.5 games behind the Toronto Raptors. That's it. They're 2.5 games behind the Toronto Raptors for the 4th seed. Toronto loses a couple games. You win a couple games, you're in there. You have home court. It's not over for the Orlando Magic. What I'm saying is, though, they're not a championship level team. We'll see what they do at the deadline. I feel like they're going to make a move. If they don't, I'll be very surprised. I also feel like they're going to fire Jamal Mosley. We'll see. The Orlando Magic, I still believe in you guys. It may have been a bad first half of the season, but you got a whole second half to wake up. Home court advantage ain't out of the realm of possibilities, y'all. Let's move on to the Philadelphia 76ers, another team that I could not properly estimate. Philadelphia 76ers were expected to win 41.5 games. And part of the reason being is because of they were expecting Paul George and Joel Embiid to come back. But what they weren't expecting was the leap of Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey's an MVP candidate. Tyrese Maxey's horribly inconsistent. Tyrese Maxey is going to be ran into the ground if he continues playing at the minutes he's playing. Tyrese Maxey is playing the most minutes than any player in the last 16 years. The last player to play as many minutes as Tyrese Maxey was Monte Ellis. Tyrese Maxey is going to get burnt out before the playoffs and, God forbid, injured. So Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, they got to start playing better together. They got to start playing Joel Embiid a little bit more. They got to start giving the ball to PG a little bit more and trying to see what they have as an overall NBA team. Because right now, if you continue to play Tyrese Maxey as much as you're playing Tyrese Maxey's not going to be able to play the way that Tyrese Maxey's been playing, the way Tyrese Maxey wants to play into the playoffs. So the Philadelphia 76ers need to do something about the overage in minutes for Tyrese Maxey. He's been playing great. He's a deserved all-star starter. I just need Tyrese Maxey to stay healthy and stay consistent rolling into the playoffs. Because right now, the way that they're burning him out, it's not going to turn out well. They have a great young core as well. VJ Edgecombe is very exciting. You know who I love? I love Barlow. Dominic Barlow is a really good player. What's his name? Edwards? I forgot his first name. It's not James Edwards, right? What's his name? It's Justin Edwards. He's a really good player as well. Great shooter. Adem Bona is fun to watch. He sometimes looks like a giraffe on ice skates. Sometimes he just looks lost. But I like the Philadelphia Sixers team. And to be honest, Joel Embiid in the NBA makes the NBA good. I love watching Joel Embiid play, as long as he's not flopping. It's aggravating when he's doing that. Let's move on to the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns is probably going to be the team that we talk about most from the rest of all these teams, other than one more. The Phoenix Suns were expected to win 30.5. And I told everybody, I'm not a gambler. I don't sports bet. I don't do any of that. But I said to sell your house and put it all on the Phoenix Suns before the season started. And my God, was I right. My Lord, was I right. The Phoenix Suns, 27 wins. They're 3 wins away from getting to their projected win total. This is the 3rd time Dillon Brooks has changed the culture in his city. Memphis, Houston, and now Phoenix. Dillon Brooks has done stuff to this team that nobody honestly could have expected. I mean, he's playing well. His efficiency has skyrocketed. His volume has skyrocketed. And now they got Jalen Green? You're telling me now they're healthy and they're only 3 games away from their total win count projection? Grayson Allen has took a leap. Dillon Brooks has taken a leap. Devin Booker still can't even shoot a fucking 3. He's shooting 30% from deep and still jacking them things up. He's got to either stop jacking them up or just get that shot right. Because this ain't even D-Book. This is not D-Book. This team, Jordan Ott, the head coach, deserves some Coach of the Year votes as well. I think the top 3 should probably be JB Bickerstaff, Joe Mazzulla, and Jordan Ott in that order. The only thing about this team is they're not really swinging the ball around. It's mostly ISO ball. And their defense, I mean, they're dogs, bro. They're dogs. They are dogs. They are second in the NBA in steals. Second to the Detroit Pistons. So when they were playing against each other, and it was steal after steal after tip pass after tip pass, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. The Phoenix Suns have blew all of our expectations out of the water, and I love watching this team play. Just not when they play against my team, because I'm not going to lie, the 3-point spamming gets tiring to watch. Suns fans, you guys know I'm not exaggerating when I say that. They be spamming those threes like crazy. The only team that attempts more threes than them are like the Boston Celtics at that point. They jack them things up. Let's move on to the Portland Trailblazers. Another team that I couldn't properly estimate. They were expected to win 34.5 games, and the Portland Trailblazers are having a great, bro, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. And the Portland Trailblazers are a play-in team. That is a successful season. They're probably not going to be a play-in team, but they're not going to be a playoff team, but they are a play-in team, which is great. That's the improvement that they needed to see. Their young players are improving as well. Caleb Love is replacing Scoot Henderson in a great way as well. I love watching him play. Shaedon Sharpe is playing better. He's averaging 22 points per game. Toumani Camara is playing okay, but Deni Avdija is the one leap that none of us expected. Deni Avdija on the court has been incredible. Yes, he's taking a lot of free throws. He's getting like almost 10 free throws attempted per game, but he's averaging 26 points, 7 rebounds. And what has impressed me the most about Deni Avdija is his playmaking. I was not expecting Avdija's playmaking to improve this much. It's truly a sight to see watching this guy play. When he's not just barreling into people, he's a really fun watch. And another guy I love watching is Donovan Clingan. I love watching this guy make his post work. I love watching this team. They're going to be a play-in team. The only unfortunate part about the Portland Trailblazers is their defense and their passing. A lot of ISO ball for a young team and lack of defense for a young athletic team. They're on a 4-game win streak, which is great. And they're like pretty good wins. They're against the Hawks, Lakers, Kings, and Miami. So Portland Trailblazers are doing their thing, man. I love to see it. They've always been my team in the Western Conference that I claim. I haven't really claimed that this year, but they're going to be a play-in team, man. They're going to be a play-in team, and I think that's great. I think that's okay. The Sacramento Kings. This is going to be the fastest one yet. Sacramento Kings were expected to win 35 and a half games. They're not. Blow it up. There's one team I'm not going to give any time of day. Sacramento Kings. Sorry if you're a Kings fan. I'm not talking about them. They have 12 wins. Their owner's corrupt. I'm not talking about them. I like Dylan Cardwell. Good call. Westbrook's playing well. Blow it up. Blow it up. I'm not talking about the Sacramento Kings. Let's move on to a team that I want to talk about, the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs. They were expected to win 43 and a half games. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, they're already at 31. The San Antonio Spurs are the Detroit Pistons of the West. They're both beyond ahead of schedule. What this team is doing is arguably guaranteed a top 5 story of the NBA right now. You can convince me top 3. I think Pistons are in the top 3. I think the Suns are in the top 3. And then it's between the Spurs and Celtics for being a top 3 as well. These are great stories, y'all. These are great stories. Wemby hasn't been exactly healthy, but that's been the spectacular part about this. They're sitting in the second seed at 31 and 14, 1 game above the third seed. I don't know how long they're going to last in the second seed because there are some obvious flaws in this team, like 3-point shooting. But their defense more than makes up for it. Their defense is solid. Their defense is firm. And they can improve in so many different positions. They have young talent. They have veteran talent. Not much veteran talent. But with the improvement that I'm seeing of, for example, I didn't know Devin Vassell was this important to that team. Stephon Castle's in a sophomore slump right now. He forgot how to shoot. Dylan Harper doesn't know how to shoot yet. Jeremy Sohan is getting a lot of DNPs. Luke Cornett, French Vanilla. I love that connection between Wemby and Luke Cornett. It's beautiful. Julian Champagnie, I was not expecting this sort of leap from three-point land. 38% from deep on a lot of attempts. This guy's been scorching from 3. It's a sight to see. Even last night, he hit 5 threes. The night before, he hit a bunch as well. The San Antonio Spurs are a fun team to watch, man. And I guarantee they're probably the second most watched League Pass team in the NBA right now. You guys are probably wondering, wait, they're not first? The Detroit Pistons are the most watched team in the NBA this year. I'm proud to admit. I don't want to talk about the Pistons while we're talking about the Spurs, but I think the reason people are watching the Pistons is because they're not playing new gen basketball. They're playing early 2000s basketball. And I think people appreciate that. I think people are appreciating that. I think all of the older folks are watching the team that play like how they miss it. They're the number 1 most watched team statistically on League Pass. But the Spurs are number 2. And the San Antonio Spurs are a lot of fun to watch, man. I believe in them. My only thing is get into the playoffs. You're ahead of schedule, okay? So for any fans that are saying like, oh, we need Giannis. No, you don't. You guys are playing with house money this year. You watch the Magic. Do not pull a Magic. Do not trade your future for one player. It's too soon. Go into the playoffs, make a marginal move. I think you can make a marginal move to make yourselves better this year. Try to win a playoff series. That's your goal this year. Anything else, it's house money. Just making the playoffs is house money. You don't even need to win. Nobody's expecting you to win. Because here's the thing about the San Antonio Spurs. Right now, if the playoffs were to start, the Spurs would play the Timberwolves. I'm taking the Timberwolves. I'm sure a lot of you guys are taking the Timberwolves. They have Julius Randle, who's played Victor Wembanyama incredibly well this season. I'm taking the Timberwolves, and I'm not even thinking about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm taking the Timberwolves. If they're playing against the Lakers, you can convince me that the Lakers can shoot themselves into a couple wins, but I'm taking the Spurs. My point being is the Spurs have no experience, right? And people are underestimating that a lot. Experience is a lot. Experience is worth a lot. And the San Antonio Spurs are playing with house money, baby. They can do whatever they want in the playoffs this year. They're already ahead of schedule, and that's a great place to be. Make a marginal move for something that you need, maybe like shooting, and just play the rest of the year out. And then next year, you can look at this team and say, what do we need? What do we need? Guys, not all progress is linear. They could fall off next year, and that's okay. That is more than okay. LeBron didn't win until what? His 9th year in the NBA? I don't think Jordan won until his 8th or 9th year either. I think Shea just won, and Shea's been in the league for what? 7 or 8 years? Giannis? The list goes on, y'all. The list goes on. There's no reason to rush the San Antonio Spurs team. Now, let's move on to the Toronto Raptors, guys. We're almost done. The Toronto Raptors. They were expected to win 37.5 games. 37.5. They were expected to be, is that what I think it is? Missing the play-in? They expected the Raptors to miss the play-in. Well, the Toronto Raptors right now are the 4th seed in the East at 27-19. There's obvious bad apples on this team. Emmanuel Quickley's not a point guard. Emmanuel Quickley's contract sucks. They signed Jakob Poeltl to a horrible contract. He can't stay healthy. I don't think anybody wants Jakob Poeltl either. The Toronto Raptors right now are scaring me. They're scaring me because Scotty Barnes is great. He's not taking that big of a leap, but he's playing better than last year. Brandon Ingram's their best offensive player. But this roster has obvious holes in it. They don't have a center. They're maining small ball right now in 2026. Small ball is dead, ladies and gentlemen. You need proper centers. You need proper size. Small ball is dead. RJ Barrett, the fact that I'm getting told by Toronto Raptors fans that RJ Barrett is the backbone of this team tells me all I need. They don't set up plays for RJ Barrett. They don't. They don't set up a single play for him. And yet he's the backbone of this team. He's averaging 19.5 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, 49% from the field, and 36% from the three. They do not set up any plays for RJ Barrett, yet he continues to succeed with this roster. His unfortunate part is he's not playing that many games this year. RJ Barrett has only played in 23 games. That is not good. That is about almost half of their games this year. Now, I believe the Toronto Raptors are going to be a playoff team. I don't think there's many other teams that are, better than them in the East, right? Scotty Barnes is not getting enough credit as he should for defense. Their defense is incredible. Their biggest issue here is playmaking. They're big, not like assist-wise. They're great at swinging the ball, but they don't have a playmaking guard. Emmanuel Quickley is a score-first guard, and sometimes he can't even do that. And then Jakob Poeltl just doesn't play. He's got back issues. I love Mamu Kelishvili off the bench. He's great, but he's a 4. He's a 4. And Scotty Barnes has been having an incredible year. Scotty Barnes deserves to be an all-star, but unfortunately, I think Brandon Ingram's going to get the all-star rep for Toronto, and they're not getting 2 reps as a 4th seed. Scotty Barnes has been averaging 20 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. He's averaging less than a block and a half, and less than a steal and a half. So Scotty Barnes has been playing super, super well. This is a playoff team. Whether or not they can win a series, I'm unsure, but shout out to them for surpassing their expectations. But I do want to say, Toronto fans, you're not out of the woods. I hate to say that, but you're only 2.5 games out from falling into the play-in. You're also only a game and a half above the 6th seed. So the fact that you only have a 2.5 game cushion, you shouldn't get comfortable. But you should be excited because this is a great step forward into the right direction. The biggest issue for the Toronto Raptors right now is consistency with their offense. Sometimes you just don't know what the hell they're doing. Sometimes I watch this Toronto Raptors team and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? What are these rotations? What are these play calls? What are these schematics? But then sometimes they move like a well-oiled machine. So, let's move on to the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz were expected to win 18.5 games. Well, the Utah Jazz have more than 18.5 wins. I believe. It feels like they do. They have 15. Damn. The Utah Jazz have been a very fun team to watch this year. They're always my go-to when I see them on League Pass and like the Pistons aren't playing. I'm always watching the Utah Jazz. They are a lot of fun to watch, ladies and gentlemen. They are a lot of fun to watch. The Utah Jazz are super, super fun to watch. They have Keontae George, who's a budding star. He's incredible. The only issue with the Utah Jazz is, you guys know how I showed the Lakers earlier, and I said that the Lakers have some of the most read statistic analytical marks in the league. Brace yourselves, Twitch stream. Check that out. There is not a team that has worse defensive stat. This team legit goes into every game and says, fuck it, let's outscore them. Because they are that horrendous at defense. There is not a team worse defensively than them. They are 29th or 30th in every single fucking defensive advanced metric in the league. Which is quite impressive to say that the New York Knicks have had equal defense to them over the last month and a half. And the Lakers are right there with them, which is just very impressive to say. Keontae George is butted into a star. They have trade opportunities, and Lauri Markkanen is playing incredible. Nurkic is playing incredible. Isaiah Collier is playing okay. I like Kyle Filipowski, even though he's been hurt. Walker Kessler's coming back. Kevin Love's old ass is doing things. Yusuf Nurkic has remembered how to play basketball. He's being very, very good. And then Bryce Sensabaugh as well. He just got back from a sickness, but he's playing very, very well as well. He dropped a 40-point game. Bryce Sensabaugh has been a demon. I love this team, man. And I think they got a really bright future with Ace Bailey as well. I'm excited for the Utah Jazz. I think they got one more tank here, and then they're ready to actually try. And for our final team, we have the Washington Wizards. All right, guys, that's going to wrap today's podcast. I'm kidding. Washington Wizards were expected to win 20.5 games. 20.5. Almost just threw up in my mouth a little bit. The Washington Wizards have 10. So they're exactly on pace. They are exactly on pace for their 20 mark. They traded for Trae Young. He's probably not going to play for them this year. And I told everybody I don't see him playing more than 15 games with them this year. And I think I even overestimated that. I don't see him playing more than 10 games. Listen, man, what can I say about the Washington Wizards? I think Alex Sarr is really good. And yeah, I mean, genuinely, what can I say? They're the worst offensive team in the league. They're the second worst defensive team in the league. Keyshawn George is pretty good. He's shooting 39% from deep and 45% from the field. Bub Carrington's okay. Bilal Coulibaly hasn't moved me. Trey Johnson's pretty decent. Chris Middleton's old ass is still doing things. Yeah, Marvin Bagley looks cool. Cam Whitmore has been hurt. Yeah, man. AJ Johnson, I was excited about him until I wasn't. I hate to end it with the Washington Wizards, but that's the way that it's going, man. And that's the unfortunate aspect about this team. All right, guys, that's going to do it. TikTok, YouTube, come into the Twitch stream, link in my bio. Podcast listeners, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. Guys, I'm not going to waffle for much longer. Shout out to 313 Deadly for following the stream. I appreciate you very, very much. Podcast listeners, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. YouTube watchers, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Until Monday, guys, I'm exhausted. That was the longest podcast to date. A lot of people even left because they got bored. Ladies and gentlemen, I got nothing left to say except for thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And as always, guys, I hope to see you Monday. We'll see what happens to this storm that's coming in. We'll see. Thank you for watching/listening, and I hope to see you guys Monday morning at 9 a.m.